As a tax strategist, I have the pleasure of sitting across from a lot of millionaires, a lot of broke people, a lot of aspiring entrepreneurs. And one of the things that I've been able to do is I've been able to adopt habits that allow for me to be able to grow my net worth and be able to turn around and guide other people around how they can build their wealth quicker. And I get to sit in front of a lot of taxpayers who have a wide variety of different tax returns. Some are celebrities, entrepreneurs, your everyday working individual. But one thing is common. The conversations that I have with wealthy entrepreneurs are different than the conversations that I have with the poor and middle class.
At this point, I think it's important to point out that it's almost impossible to save your way to financial freedom. Unless you're making an insane amount of money, it's extremely hard to do. First of all, inflation is gonna eat up money that you are saving, and your ability to continue a decent quality of living without ever running out of money is just extremely hard if you're just saving. So to escape the rat race early, you really need to do a few different things. You need to either invest money or to start some type of business that will earn you relatively passive cash flow so that you can at least hire somebody else to run that business and still collect a check. Finding a way that you can put in work upfront that will pay you pretty much indefinitely. But either way, really putting your money to work for you is probably the most important step towards financial independence. For me, I got my expenses as low as I possibly could and then took that money after years of saving, invested in real estate, and that started to create passive income for me, even though it still takes work, that was able to offset those extremely low living costs. For instance, my brother and his wife just left their day jobs off of like 2 rentals and actually starting a t-shirt business that will eventually, once they get it up and running, not actually take them putting in all that much effort, but will hopefully continue to pay them for a long time. But whatever path you decide, it's important to realize there are going to be ups, there are going to be downs. It takes an extreme amount of hard work for a long period of time to create any type of wealth. And if you never take the chance of investing or starting a business or putting yourself out there for whatever reason, you don't deserve and you will not receive the reward that goes along with that risk, whether it's the risk of failure or the risk of losing your money. Them's the rules.
To be completely honest with you, majority of the entrepreneurs that I work with, majority of the high net worth individuals that I'm surrounded around, they wake up early. It just happens to be one of those characteristics that they've all seemed to adopt. So rather than trying to fight it, rather than trying to come up with this own conclusion in my head that I could find a way to become a millionaire by waking up at 8 a.m., I just gave up on that idea and I decided to start waking up at 4:30 a.m. My life has changed ever since I adopted this one trait. And the big reason why most entrepreneurs, the big reason why most wealthy individuals wake up early is just so that no one else is competing with their time. As soon as you hit 7 o'clock, when the average individual's alarm clock goes off, Instagram and every other notification now takes precedence over your attention, including other people, including family members, friends, and outside peers. But when you decide to wake up at 4:30 in the morning or somewhere around 5 a.m., there's not a lot of people that are awake. There's not a lot of emails that are going out. There's not a lot of business for you to attend to. This gives you this one particular hour or 2 hours in the day to truly work on yourself before you're working on someone else's vision when you go into work. This is one of the most important traits that you can adopt as you're trying to become a millionaire. It's creating more time in the 24 hours that you have in the day to work on yourself. But what ends up happening is we try to justify why it makes sense to wake up at normal operating hours, 7:30, 8 o'clock. This is poor behavior. And these are the things that were keeping me poor.
The 188 rule. At 20 years old, let's say you invest $1. By the time you're 65, that $1 will be worth $88. That is absolutely insane. But if you don't invest at 20 and you wait till 30 to invest, that $1 will only be $33, which is still way better than $1, but it's not 88, it's a lot less. Understanding this idea and compound interest makes every decision that I make extremely different, and it's like more of a mindset thing for me when it comes to saving money. I don't do like spreadsheets and all this random stuff that's hard to keep up with. I just like to understand how money works. And by doing that, it makes me spend less and want to earn more, because I know that if I don't spend $10 on something when I'm 20, that'll be $884 that I could have when I'm 65. Or another way to look at it is, since the S&P 500 has averaged 10% per year since it was started, would I rather invest this $10 and receive $1 back every single year for the rest of my life, or would I rather buy this cheeseburger? So whether it's in real estate, your own business, or the stock market, for me it's low cost index funds, it's important to start investing early.
What's funny? I used to be an HHH. An HHH is a happy hour hero. I used to come up with all these reasons why it made sense for me to go eat out, why it made sense for me to be at the happy hours with my friends. Every single person I know has a friend group that likes to go out and eat out. And this friend group is not the friend group that you're, at the table, you're sitting at the table, everyone's sitting there with 7 figures in the bank. That's not that friend group. This is the friend group where everyone's working a job, they all work hard, and they all believe in celebrating and having a couple of tequila shots and margaritas with the gang.
Most people are addicted to something. It might be the news, it might be reality TV, your smartphone, social media, painting, your work, video games. For everybody, it's gonna be different, but most people are addicted to something. And I realized that I have a very addictive personality. So that could either be a negative thing in my life, like most of the things we just talked about, or I actually figured out how to use that to my own advantage. And that was to become addicted to positive things. So it's really hard to stop maybe playing video games or checking your phone or whatever that habit is for you. But that's because you're just trying to subtract something. Instead, you want to try to replace it. So for me, I started to listen to audiobooks. Instead of watching like pointless content on YouTube, I started to watch people who actually improved my life, listening to podcasts. And I actually got addicted and like obsessed with finances. And because input determines output, as I was shoving more and more financial, positive content, wholesome content into my brain, I started to realize that I thought about that stuff. My brain started to look for opportunities to make more money. It was actually like brainwashing myself or like reprogramming myself to be that person that I wanted to be. So if you want to start a business or become better at your job or understand finances or understand your health, take a month, take 3 months and just read like 20 books on the subject. Just watch like 100 or 200 hours worth of content on that subject. And you're pretty much going to be ahead of like 99% of people. Just with a couple months of focused learning on one subject, you're going to become like almost an expert just from that. Doing this completely changed how I think, how I see the world. It made me more healthy, more happy. I took times where I was obsessed with fitness, obsessed with finances, obsessed with habits and my business and other things. And each one has made me kind of like a better person. I've grown from each time I get really obsessed about something good instead of something negative.
All of us knew, especially millennials in my age, we knew what it was like to get to Friday night and your parents wanted to take you to Blockbuster. You used to rip and run up and down the aisles, choosing all your favorite movies, bringing them to the cashier, checking out with a couple of different popcorns and candies, going home and watching a Blockbuster movie. And then 3 years passed, and then next thing you know, Netflix is the new thing. You have your own login. You don't need to leave the house. You don't need to go to Blockbuster. And next thing you know, all the Blockbusters that you see in the community all of a sudden start shutting down. The reason why this happened is because Blockbuster refused to adapt. Blockbuster had a chance to partner with Netflix, and they chose not to. Could you believe that? Look who's out of business now. Here's the thing I want you to understand about where money is going. Money is going towards the internet. It's going towards AI. It's going towards television. It's going towards video. And if you're not on the internet, if you do not have an online presence with whatever business that you're trying to start, AKA I'm telling you to start a business, then you will miss this wave and you will be left behind. It will be so much harder for you to get to a place where you can have $1 million or $2 million sitting in the bank because you haven't figured out this game that other people are playing. The internet is a game, and if you choose to jump into this game, you have a better chances of finding success and building wealth quicker than trying to avoid this game like Blockbuster did. Adopt your internet strategy if you're looking to become a millionaire in today's day and age.
The $60 an hour rule. This number is going to be different for everybody, but I suck at math, so I'm going to use $60. First off, you have to give yourself a little bit of confidence, a little bit of credit. This has helped me earn way more money and waste way less time. It's simply this idea of valuing your own time at more than you're making per hour. Let's say that you earn $20 an hour. You value your time at $20 an hour. When you spend $20, you think of that as an hour of your time. But instead, I want you to pick a much higher number. Maybe it's $60 an hour, maybe it's $100 or $500 an hour or $1,000 an hour. Pick something that's way more than you make now, but still like kind of reasonable. Maybe if you're like me, then it's something that's easy to divide. But this is something that I did where even though I was making $10 to $20 an hour, I firmly believed that I was worth $60 an hour. So I would work like I was earning $60 an hour. I would work way harder, which eventually helped me get promotions. Somehow I started to find other jobs that paid me more, closer to that number that I was looking for, because that's what I valued my time at. I knew I wasn't getting that. So I found different ways to make more because I really believed that I was worth more. But it also like saves you time in other areas. So like, let's say you go to Starbucks, you're waiting in line, it takes 20 minutes. There's a long line today, but you really want a coffee. So you're in line, spend 20 minutes, you get a $5 coffee. If your time is worth $60 an hour, which it is, then you just spent $25 for one coffee, because that 20 minutes that you wait in line plus the $5 for the coffee. That is downright stupid. Make your coffee at home. The same thing with everything else. If you spend an hour a day on Instagram, you're spending $60 that you could have earned. So you're spending $60 to like scroll Instagram and get like absolutely nothing out of it. So even when you're not earning as much money as you think you deserve, take that time while you're driving to work, while you're going for a walk, while you're on your lunch break, and learn stuff. I used to listen to audiobooks all the time. So I'd pretty much think of it as I'm getting paid to listen to this, or instead of wasting this time, I'm gonna learn a skill, because this time could have earned me $60 if I just knew something that I don't know right now. And that's pretty much the only difference between earning $10 an hour, 20, 50, 100, 500, $1,000 an hour. Somebody else knows something that you don't know. So if you learn more stuff, that's how you make that kind of money. They're not lucky, they're not different, they just know something you don't know. And that's actually super, super cool.